Welcome back to the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Wu Ruiguo. In this segment, we will continue our conversation with Mr. Daniel Hwang, a member of the Legislator Yuan in Taiwan. Daniel, I'm going to start off this session by asking you that, of course, you mentioned that the direct flights between Taichung Qinquancang Airport and many of the major cities on the mainland. And also, we have also learned from various news reports that the mainland tourists, when they come to Taiwan, they most like to visit the central part of Taiwan because of places like Yih-Jiau.
Salmon Lake.
Yes, and
right.
this is very well known to many of the people living on the mainland. How would you evaluate the direct flight impact and also the influx of mainland tourists to Taichung, to the general area in central Taiwan? What's been their reaction and responses?
The Taichung people have opened widely their arms
to
welcoming the tourist friends from mainland China. Because as you mentioned, one of the tourist attractions, the mainland tourists most like to visit is Salmon Lake and Alishan.
Yes.
And my city, Taichung, we have a lot of staples food for them to try.
And take home with.
I think the interchanges between tourists from mainland China and Taichung people and my city has been very, very positive and very encouraging through the interchanges, through between our people and mainland tourism. It's going to enhance the mutual understanding between people of mainland and Taichung, and also that's benefit the local economy. It's pour into a lot of
into restaurants,
hotels,
hotels,
and transportation,
taxis,
the fringe industries also bettered by the mainland tourist visits. So for that we are very grateful. And I think nowadays, on average, on a daily basis, 5,000 Chinese tourists visiting Taiwan, Republic of China. And this is really very, very, very good sign. With that encouraging beginning, we hope that will trickle down to other industries, and eventually that will create a solid foundation for future further exchanges between Taiwan in the field of culture, in the field of economies, the further enhancing ties between two sides.
Exactly. And also, Daniel, you mentioned in the earlier discussions that a very important mission that you have for yourself is to relay what people are telling you, your voter, your constituents are telling you, especially in the business sector, in the business community. They would like to see, of course, a more integrated relationship with China. And also, I think many analysts now project that Chinese mainland is no longer just the world factory, shall also become the world market, from factory to market. So it is also important that we have reciprocal two-side, market access for Chinese products to come into Taiwan, Chinese tourists to come here, but also for Taiwanese products to go into the Chinese market and also Taiwanese tourists to visit China. But I know a very important piece of the legislation that you're pushing for in the LY concerns the allowing the permission of Chinese commercials to be aired, to be advertised in Taiwan. Can you give us a little more background about your position on that issue, and what are the prospects? When would that become a reality, that we can see some Chinese products and their commercials and advertisement in Taiwan that will indicate further integration economically?
Indeed, nowadays our government allowed 8,000 items of Chinese products imported into Taiwan market. 8,000 items.
8,000.
Covering a very wide range of, say, daily necessities, food, and even the so-called Chinese herb, drugs, so on and so forth. 8,000 items. But there's no commercials. We have a ban on
mainland
commercials from mainland, promoting the above-mentioned 8,000 items.
Yes.
It's not. I don't feel that right, because once you allow 8,000 Chinese products items go into the local market, you should give the people the information
to make a decision.
Those 8,000 items, the information flow. Let it the manufacturers or producers in mainland China provide the information on those 8,000 items to our local consumers.
Precisely.
And but the DPP's congressmen, they were opposed to my
your bill.
Amendment to lift the ban on commercials from mainland China.
Yes.
Their reason is that they feel that once you allow the Chinese commercials
to come
into the local market, then the political consequences will be negatives or adverse. The kind of they worry that once you allow the Chinese commercials
to come in,
disseminated in the local market, the people will be influenced by their commercials, ideologies. This has gone too far.
Yes.
So this is a free market. This is a free society. The more you allow the say information flow freer, then the people will have more say information, more say knowledge to decide by themselves what products they want to buy. It's up to people to decide.
Exactly.
So that's I have full confidence and trust in people's judgment.
Yes.
So I never lost say trust or confidence in people's judgment. So this I'm trying to talk in our oppositions, my colleagues, into their sense. I try to convince them. So hopefully, in the near future, in the next sessions, congressional sessions, the Congress will adjourn in this coming September, and I hope that my proposed amendment will be, say, re-deliberated on the floor.
And then subject to a vote.
That's right.
And Daniel, of course, later we'll talk about your years as the spokesperson for the Taiwan provincial government, a little later in our program. But as your years in the provincial government, you travel extensively with former governor of the Taiwan province, Dr. James Soong, and you understand the importance for being a government that's responsive to the people's needs. And also, you being a very passionate, legislator in terms of pushing for legislations and bills that are pertinent to people's quality of life. So, what are some of the issues that you think are important that in the next legislative session, maybe in the session after that you would like to push, in addition to what you mentioned on the Chinese commercial side? What other quality of life issues that you would like to push in future legislative sessions in Taiwan?
If you want me to say mention several grave or imminent issues that affront our government and our people in the near future, I would give you two issues that worry me the most. First, the laws. We got to introduce legislations or amendment to existing laws whose main function is to narrow down the gap between the gap of wealth between people, low-income people and highest-income people, because the wealth disparity is getting worse. It's widening. The gap is widening. Because according to several polls conducted by some academic institutions, it's the consensus that the gap of wealth disparity is widening.
Yeah, it's
and
worsening
that's
in
really
Taiwan.
worrying. You can't have a stable societies with in which you have wide wealth disparity.
Yes.
That's ungovernable.
Yes.
And it's simply not right.
No.
So I urge Mars and our governments in the near future to do the utmost to address that, to deal with that issues.
Okay.
And secondly is we got to, as soon as possible, complete the, so-called the laws governing the reduction of greenhouse emission.
Okay.
That's
environmental.
Very, very imminent, very urgent too.
Yes.
Because it's an international theme nowadays as to deal with the reductions of greenhouse emission. And we are a part of the international world, society, international society.
Yeah, we should do our part.
The law itself, the laws governing the reductions of greenhouse emission already is clear the committee, the concerned committee, but it's pending for second reading and third reading.
Okay, on the full floor.
The full floor deliberations. So it will, in next session, it will come to the whole floor for deliberations. But I urge my colleagues, encourage my colleagues to take up the responsibility and to expedite the deliberations and completion of the third reading as soon as possible.
Okay, good. It's not usual that you find parliamentarians in Taiwan who are very concerned about people's livelihood and environmental issues. But we just heard from Mr. Daniel Hwang that these are the two areas that he will do his best in future legislative sessions in Taiwan. We're going to take another break and we'll be right back to the Taiwan Outlook and we will continue this conversation with my good friend Daniel Hwang. We'll be right back.